up, everybody? Hey, so I just finished watching Black Mirror. I love this series. It reminds me a lot of The Twilight Zone, which is a show I used to watch when I was little, when I used to do reruns of The Twilight Zone. I never liked the rebooted Twilight Zone series that they've tried to do, and I know they're rebooting Twilight Zone, and I think if I remember correctly, Jordan Peele is the one that's greenlighting this reboot with Twilight Zone. But in my opinion, I do not think Twilight Zone needs to be rebooted. We have Black Mirror, which is just an amazing series. Season 4 has 6 episodes. All of the episodes have short episodes in them. I think season 1, I'm on Netflix right now, I think season 1 had the shortest. Yeah, season 1 only has 3 episodes. And then let me see, season 2 has 4 episodes. So it seems as if as the seasons kept going, they kept increasing. Season 3, I really loved season 3. Season 3 has 6 episodes. Yeah, to me season 3 was the best out of all of them. And then season 4, 2 episodes in season 4 that I really didn't like were Crocodile ended on some bullshit in my opinion, and Metalhead, I don't know, I felt as if Metalhead was out of its element. It didn't feel like it belonged in Black Mirror. It was totally different. And I felt as if the reason why they went out on their mission was on some bullshit. I'm sorry, I'm not gonna risk my life to get a fucking teddy bear. I'm not gonna do that. Don't worry, I'll give a spoiler warning, but yeah. The one episode I do want to talk about, I'm first going to talk about, is Hang the DJ. I really like that episode. My favorite though is Black Museum. That episode was just, it was amazing, especially the twist that it had at the end. Archangel, I feel as if a lot of people are not going to really appreciate it, but I think people like me who have sort of overprotective family or parents, we will kind of relate to Archangel. God knows what would have happened if my mother had that Archangel app. Whew. Anyways, and then my favorite was USS Callister. That was another good episode, especially since it had like a Star Trek reference. Loved it. Okay, so let's talk about Hang the DJ. Hang the DJ is about dating apps. I've noticed each episode of Black Mirror reference some sort of technological advance. Like, for example, season 3, which is my favorite, the first episode, Nosedive, is about social media and how people will do anything and everything to be liked. And we see this in today with Facebook, Instagram, Snapchat. Some people will put up a false persona on their social media account just so that they can get likes or be famous. You have people that are getting money being Instagram famous, and so on and so forth. So that's what Nosedive. And Nosedive asks, how far are you willing to go just to get some likes? Like the main character, for example, she went to a wedding of a woman who slept with her boyfriend back in high school. And the only reason why the main character went to that chick's wedding is so that she can get more likes on her social media account. Because in that society, in Nosedive, that particular society, the way you live a decent life, and when I say that, I mean maintaining a getting a good job, maintaining that job, even working up the social ladder, you have to receive likes on your social media account. So it asks that question: how far are you willing to go to get those likes? And I don't know about you, but I'm not going to no damn wedding of a woman that slept with my ex, my boyfriend at the time in high school. I'm just not doing that. But she did that. They basically live false lives, and there are people that do that. They put on this persona that they have the perfect life up on social media, but their life is really full of shit. so yeah, that was Nosedive. So each Black Mirror episode has its own theme. So in this particular episode of Hang DJ, it's referencing dating apps. So in this particular world, some of the worlds in Black Mirror, they do interconnect with each other. Like Black Museum has a hella amount of Easter eggs in that episode that connects it to other episodes, and I will talk about that when I eventually do a review on Black Museum. So in Hang the DJ, the way you find a mate, spouse, partner, whatever you want to call it, you must go through a dating app. I don't think in this world you're able to find your spouse on your own. You must go through an app, because in this world you see mostly young people, probably between their late 20s into early 30s. I'm sorry if I sound like this. I'm kind of cold. The heater is on, but I'm still cold. Anyways, so you have to go through a series of dates. Even if you've met somebody and you like that person, you vibing well with that person, the app will only give your relationship with that person a particular time frame. And once that time frame is up, that day that the relationship ends, the app will set you on a date with a next person. And it does that because it has to go through an algorithm to see how you feel, how you react, and all that stuff when you go on these different dates. It's sort of, I remember the commercial for eHarmony, the old white guy keeps saying, oh, we go through a selective algorithm to partner you up with future prospects that will end up being your spouse. So that's essentially what the app does. So you follow two particular people, Frank and Amy, and the episode starts off with them going on their first date. And Frank and Amy, they are so adorable. They are so quirky with each other, but yet so cute. Frank, I feel as if Frank he is a little kind of weird. He's quirky. He's kind of, I don't know if to say if he's shy. He reminds me a lot of Ronald Weasley from Harry Potter. Frank reminds me of him in a way. And then Amy is just the complete opposite. She's bubbly, she's sparkly, she's funny, she's outgoing, all of that. So I already felt from the jump that these two were going to be good for each other, because Frank says a weird, sort of unfunny joke, and Amy, she laughs and she cracks her own corny joke, and Frank, he laughs, and they're just bouncing off of each other. They're just vibing off of each other. So I'm like, okay, they're gonna make it. And so in the middle of their date, Amy asked, oh, you want to see how long our time is? And that threw me off a little, because I'm like, wait, the app can predict how long your relationship is gonna last? And so they clicked on their app. They each have their own individual app. You're holding it in your hand, and the app both says 12 hours. So they only have 12 hours for each other. So I thought their relationship was only gonna last for 12 hours, and then That's it. And they made the most out of those 12 hours. They went back to a place. The app sets up a place for couples to stay in. So this is so cute. They're both deciding if they should have sex with each other. And so Amy is in the bathroom, Frank is in the bedroom, and they're both talking to the app like, should we have sex? Da, 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 and all that stuff. They get nervous. Eventually, Amy comes out the bathroom, and both Amy and Frank decide not to sleep on the first date. And it was sweet. They were both laying on the bed, with their clothes on. And Amy, she slowly moves her hand on Frank's hand, and she holds on his hand, and then Frank, holds her hand back. So that was sweet. Their time was up. They left. They had to leave the premise, and they went their separate ways. The app sets both Frank and Amy on individual dates. Let's start with Frank. I felt so bad for Frank. The app set him up with some chick named Nicole. That bitch, she was so mean, so cold to Frank. And I can already tell that they're not going to work out with each other. Frank tried to crack a joke similar to what he did with Amy. And Nicole was not having it. She just looked at him like, why are you talking to me? And so Nicole first said, you want to see how long this is going to last? So they pressed on the button, and I'm hoping it's not going to be more than 24 hours because these two are just not getting along with each other. And the app says 1 year. And Nicole is like, this is a mistake. There's no way. No. And Frank, he's sort of an optimistic person, but Nicole, like I said, she's not having it. Then the scene goes to Amy's new date, and she does the same thing. I forgot the new guy's name. She cracks a joke, and Nick is just looking at her like, did I say Nick? Was that his name? I'm gonna just call him new guy. He just looks at Amy like, okay. So Amy, she is trying her best to make this. Like I said, she's a bubbly person, so she's not gonna let anything sort of discourage her. So we get back to Amy and the new guy's place, and then Frank and Nicole's place. So the new guy, he tells Amy, oh, I have to take a shower. So he goes, takes a shower, he comes back out he's just wearing a towel. The new guy, his body he has a good looking body. So he proceeds and tells Amy, oh, I think we should have sex. Yeah, I think we should have sex because in my experience, when you have sex on the first date, you can get a feel of how the relationship is gonna go, and for me it sort of worked. And so he tells Amy, yeah, I'm gonna put on the app consensual form for you to fill out. You can say yes whenever you want to. Amy takes the app and she just she marks yes on all of them. So she basically gave Nick consent to have sex with her, which is something that I do like, because with everything that's going on in Hollywood with sexual harassment and all that other stuff, this app, it seems you have to give consent through the app to have sex with somebody. So I'm kind of wondering, what if Amy put no? What would the app have done? Would the app end the relationship between Amy and the new guy? And what if Amy said no and the new guy tried to, let's say, rape her? What would the app have done? I kind of would have liked to see that and Hang the DJ. But I think that was an interesting thing, how you must give consent through the app before you engage in whatever type of sexual activity with the person that you're on a date with. So yeah, Amy says yes, and then they start having sex. And the sex seems to be good. Frank, poor Frank and Nicole. This bitch, Nicole. So Frank is on top of Nicole. He is so stiff. And I'm watching, I'm like, Is it because he doesn't like her that he's so stiff, or is it Frank? I don't know. So Nicole, she's like, ugh, like she just has a look of disgust, and she's basically telling Frank how shitty he is. So Frank, he's trying to work with Nicole. He's like, okay, do you want me to do it this way? She's like, no. Do you want me to do it that way? She's like, you know what? We're just gonna have to do it from the back. And so the scene is switching out from Frank to Nicole to Amy and the new guy. It seems as if Amy and the new guy, they're having good sex. It goes back to Frank and Nicole. They're in doggy style. And Frank is trying his damn best. And Nicole, she's like, oh my God, you're so, like, she's just complaining. And I'm like, well, Nicole, why don't you tell him what you want him to do to you instead of just being there and just complaining? Because Frank, he's like, okay, do you want me to do it this way? Do you want me to do it that way? And all she does is complain. And I'm like, yeah, this is not going to work. So after they finish having sex, they're lying down. Nicole is sleeping. Frank, he goes to look on his app to see how many days it is. And the app says 363 days left. I was like, damn. And then that's one thing I wonder about. So you have to stay in a relationship with this person even though you know you don't want to be in a relationship with this person. I'm like, why is the app forcing these two people, Frank and Nicole, to be together? And then I'm saying to myself, well, I answered my question that I asked myself. There are people that do stay in relationships that they do not want to be in for whatever reason, whether it's because of family or society. You know, there's some stupid women out there that say dumb shit like, oh, having a man is better than having no man at all. So they will sometimes stay in abusive relationships or shitty ass relationships even though they know they don't want to be in a relationship with that particular person. And there are even men that do the same thing. A lot of men do not come forward and say how they've just settled with a woman because of, for whatever reason. Yeah, so this app that makes two people stay together despite the fact that those two people do not like each other is not that far-fetched from what goes on today without an app. Like I say, you can stay in a shitty relationship because of whatever reason, whether it's family, whether it's society pressures, or whether it's just you thinking that you have no way out of this relationship, so you stay for however long. Frank and Nicole had just 1 year with each other. There are people that are in shitty relationships, horrible relationships for 5, 10, 15 years. Amy and the new guy had 9 months. So you're thinking everything between Amy and the new guy is gonna work out well, but eventually Amy gets annoyed with this guy because every time this guy takes a drink, he always, after he finished sipping his drink, he always goes, every time. There's even a time when they were having sex and he's going down on Amy, and so Amy, you know, she's moaning, and then this guy goes, he stops doing what he's doing, you know, going down on her, and he goes, and Amy is like, did this dude just do that? And so every day he does that, and that just, it infuriates Amy. So eventually 9 months is up, a year is up, and then the app puts Amy and Frank together again. So they go on their nice little date again, and then they go to the place and they decide to sleep with each other. So I'm a little worried because Frank did not perform that well with Nicole. And so they're cracking jokes with each other. Amy is just cracking her jokes and Frank is laughing, and then she just goes in for the kill. She just starts kissing him, and then Frank just grabs her and just embraces her and just kisses her. I'm like, okay, Frank, you got a little something within you. So they have some really good passionate sex. So it wasn't the fact that Frank is horrible. It's just that this person that he was with, Nicole, is just, there was no chemistry there. So if there's no chemistry there, I guess the sex is not going to be that amazing. But with Amy, this person that he truly likes, and you can even say he truly loves, you know, he gives it his all to Amy. So after that, they both decide not to look at to see how long, they both decide not to look at the app to see how long their relationship is going to last. But Frank, he sort of gets insecure, and without Amy's knowledge, he goes on his app to see how long their relationship is going to last. And he clicks on it and it says 5 years. And then all of a sudden, the system starts to recalibrate, and then it shortens their time to 3 years. And then it shortens this time to 1 year. Then it kept shortening the time. And Frank is freaking out. He's like, wait, what are you doing? What are you doing? She said, and the app kept saying, recalibrate in time, and all that stuff. And eventually, the app reduces their relationship to 5 hours. This is very symbolic. Their relationship could have lasted longer, but because Frank was insecure and he did not communicate with Amy that he wanted to see the time, how long their relationship would last, because he betrayed Amy's trust, their relationship shortened. And that is something to really think about. Imagine all the relationships that you were in, for whatever reason, because of your insecurities, because of failed communication. You know, with Frank and Amy, there was no communication. You know, they made an agreement, but Frank stepped out of that agreement and took matters into his own hands. Imagine all the relationships that you were in and why it ended. It must have ended because of somebody's insecurities, or there was no communication, there was no trust, and because of that, your relationship shortened and it ended. Imagine how long your relationship could have been, or how successful that relationship could have been if there was trust, if there was communication, if there were no insecurities. But we're humans. We go through all of that. So, eventually, Frank and Amy, they went out on their 3rd or 4th date, and Frank was acting weird, and Amy immediately picked it up, and she was like, okay, what's going on with you? And eventually Frank told her the truth. And of course, Amy was pissed off. She said, we made an agreement. We shook on it that we were not going to see how long the relationship was. How long do we have left anyways? And he told her an hour. And she was like, what? Like, she got really upset. And from that moment, they broke up. And then, you know, Frank was crying. He was talking on the app. He was like, I don't want to be with anybody except for Amy. Do I have to go on any more dates? I already know who I want to be with. And the app was like, we are going to calibrate how you're feeling about this situation, and we're going to set you on other dates, So in the next couple of scenes, it's sort of like a montage. You see Amy on worthless dates. You see Frank on worthless dates. When Frank and Amy were together for the 2nd time, Amy told Frank how before they were set up to be together again, she was on other dates, and on those other dates she had sex with the guys, and eventually sex meant nothing to her because she would have like this out-of-body experience, and it's nothing amazing. sort of like zone out, and she'll see herself having sex with this person, and she's telling herself, why am I doing this? You know, I don't really care for this person. And in the montage where she's on dates after when she and Frank broke up, like really broke up, you see her body out, and she's just looking, and you're just seeing different partners leaving the house or whatever. That is to symbolize the dates that she's on. And she's looking at these people just leaving her bedroom or whatever the case may be, and there's nothing there between her and these other people. With Frank is on these dates with other women, and all he's doing is talking about Amy. In one of the scenes, a woman is, you know, going down on him, and all he's talking about Amy. And then the scene switches to him on top of this woman, and the woman she's responding back to him, and then he asks her, do you think I can think about her, Amy, while I'm, you know, having sex with you? And the woman looks at him, he's like, and she tells him, only if I can think about him. So she was on a date with some other guy that she loved, and the app, you know, set her up on a whole bunch of dates. So he's thinking about Amy, she's thinking about the other dude, and the sex seems to get better only because they're thinking about the person that they truly love. Basically the episode ends with the app sets Amy and Frank back up together. No, the app gives a notification to both Amy and Frank and it says, we have set you up with the one, the person that you are supposed to be with. And then the app informs Amy, we will allow you to see somebody from the past so that you can have closure. This is what would give you a peace of mind, yet closure for you to move on. Who would you like to see from the past? And immediately Amy said, Frank. she immediately said his name, and then she threw the app away. So in the next scene, you see Amy go into the restaurant. Frank is there, and they just embrace each other. Like, they just start kissing each other like crazy. It's like they were literally gonna like devour each other. So basically they go against the app. They decide not to see the one, although I kind of have a feeling that the app was gonna put the both of them together in the end anyways. So they decided to climb this huge ass wall. So the only way you leave this place that you're in is through marriage, and when the app puts you with the one, you and that person are allowed to leave the sanctuary that you're in, which is enclosed off by a huge wall. Frank and Amy, they're like, fuck it, we're gonna go against the system, sort of like revolutionaries. So they climb off this wall, and then the wall and the sanctuary sort of become digital. It changes or whatever. And then you see Frank and Amy, they're in like this digital space, and then you see a whole bunch of different copies of Frank and Amy. And this Frank and Amy that we have been following is the 999th Frank and Amy. So that part kind of confused me. So does the system continuously put two people together over and over and over and over again to see if these two people are truly compatible with each other? Is that what that symbolizes? Eventually you go off, and it seems as if you're in the real world and a party is happening, and then you see Amy, she's dressed differently, and it's a house party. And she goes in and she sees Frank, And then Frank looks up and he sees Amy, and they both smile at each other. And then you see Amy walking towards Frank, and then the episode is done. So that is Hang the DJ. I enjoyed that episode. It has a lot of references to today, dating life, the difficulties of dating life, and all the other stuff, and how using dating apps is very popular now. A lot of people are getting together through dating apps. So this is just, it's like a dating app on steroids, basically. Brooklyn. All the time there's always police sirens going through. But anyways, so that is my review of Hang the DJ. All the goddamn time, every time I record a video, every time there's always a police siren going through, or ambulance, or fire truck. All the time. But anyways, that's my review of Hang the DJ. I think the next episode that I would talk about is Archangel. That'll be next time. I'm not gonna go in order, but if you are gonna watch season 4 of Black Mirror, what I will advise is for you to check out Double Toasted on YouTube. They also have their own podcast with Corey and Martin, and they have a video where Corey is advising Martin in which order he should watch the episodes for season 4 of Black Mirror. And that the way he ordered it from worst episode to best episode. Definitely check out that video, because he was right. Like, the first episode of season 4 is USS Callister, and to me that ended on a high. You know, you're in a good mood, and then you go to freaking Archangel, and then from Archangel you go to freaking Crocodiles on some bullshit. So he listed it from, his list was from, you start off with the worst episodes and then you work your way up to the best episode. And I think everybody is on the consensus that Black Museum is the best episode of season 4 of Black Mirror. It is amazing. Like, I'm happy they put that as the last episode, because that ended the season 4 on a very good high note. So yeah, so I will see you later, and see you. Bye.